Hello there, Pastor Michael here again, and I'm doing step number 2 of this trailer house bedroom remodel. What I want to show you in this video is preparing the walls to do the drywall mud. So we're going to be doing the first tape coat in this video, plus I want to show you how I'm going to install this corner right here. I've already installed one corner. Let's pan over here. This is the metal corner I'm talking about. You can see that right there. But how do I do that? Let's come back over here to this corner. So what I want to do is I want to measure from the ground to the ceiling. (98.5 inches). 98.5 inches. So I got one of my pieces right here. So I want to set it down on something where I can manage it. 98.5 inches, and let's go ahead and get that marked on here. 98.5. Right there. I have a pair of center cut tin snips. Center cut tin snips works the best on this. Then you can go ahead and snip it on both sides. And you can lock that back together so it's ready for storage. Twist your piece. You can either save that piece or throw it away depending on what you got coming up on a project. Push it in there really tight. If you got any nails that are sticking out, you're going to tell what that looks like when you put that on there. So I like to put that piece all the way to the top because I'm going to put a certain kind of a trim board up there. And then I'm going to put some screws in there to help hold that in place. So let's get that done. Make sure you're wearing your work clothes, not something nice. Because I'm doing drywall mud, I got a white shirt on. I'm using a, I guess you call this a impact drill, and I like to make that sound happen. So we know that they're tight. You don't want these screws to stick out because it creates a problem when you're mudding it. And you don't have to put an awful lot in there either, just a few to hold it. But wherever you put one at, you want to come around to the other side and put another one in there. Try to make it inset. You can hear what I'm talking about when it clicks like that. Hear that sound? That means it's flush with the wood. You can reach up as far as you want to without getting on the ladder. Another thing I like about my home is I do stand 6'6", and as you can tell, I'm not even close to even being able to reach the ceiling. The ceilings in here are probably, I would say, 8.5 feet to the sidewall, and then probably 12 feet up to the center. Now what I want to do is I want to put some screws up towards the top. So get up on your faithful ladder.
in here.
Yep, we're showing them how to put these corner boards up there.
And a nail. So what, do these protect the corners?
Those protect the corners, so if you hit them with a piece of furniture or a bed or something like that, it'll protect it. And if it chips off, then you just take your paint and paint it again. But I'll be showing them on video how we feather this bag so this basically disappears in the mud. Basically, my friends, what I have is I have 2 of these outside corners, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inside corners, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tall seams plus some little ones. So I'm going to be showing you how I do 1 corner and 1 seam and 1 inside corner in this video. That'll be the tape coat, but I have the whole room to do, but I don't want to waste all your time watching the whole room. So I'll be showing you in those videos how I'm doing that, and that'll come up right here in just a few minutes. Well, in this video, I think without moving my camera, I'm going to be able to show you how to do an inside corner, the outside corner, and then the seam that goes all the way up the wall. This has already got basically what we would call the tape on there, which is basically the metal, okay? So to do the seam, we wanted to use our fiber mesh tape. So when you use a fiber mesh tape, you're going to start at the top and then run it all the way to the bottom, and then you're going to cut it down at the bottom. One other thing that might be a good idea is to open a window in the room that you're working in, just because it's going to help you to have some ventilation in the room. So let's get ready to move this ladder over here. I'll show you the tools that I'm using as soon as I get this up on here. Like I said, you want to start up on your ceiling. Show you how I'm going to do that. And rub the tape into it. Rubbing your hand down, it's going to help you to find where the nails are still sticking out too. And if you're old and it's hard for you to get up like me, make sure you have your ladder handy so when you get down here on the floor, you can get back up again. All right, I found a nail, so I got to get my hammer and drive that down. Always keep your hammer nearby when you're remodeling. You sure don't want to take your mud over any of that stuff. So let me show you the tools that I'm going to use. First, I'm going to put it in my mud pan. Then I usually use 3 knives. This is my 3rd coat, my 2nd coat, and my 1st coat. So you can tell there's the widths of it. For my 1st coat, I basically just use it right out of the mud, right out of the bucket. I don't thin it down. I don't feel a reason to do that. You can If you've got a big room to do like this, you can, you know, fill up your tray. I always like to put my lid back over my mud just because it has a tendency to dry out. So, if you've ever watched any of my other how-to step videos, you want to clean your knife off when you start. You don't want to have a big old glob on there. You want to do just about like that. Again, I'm going to step up to the top. Just a cover coat. That's all I'm after right now. You can go both ways on your tool. Just a cover coat. This will also help you establish if you've got any more nails that are sticking through. If you find something like that that leaves kind of a drag, pound that in, and then smooth it down. You'll understand later when you get into more coats. It's kind of hard to see all that when you first do your room. This is a point you want to cover up any holes you have in your wall, because when you texture, those are all going to show through, and you don't want that to happen. So go ahead and finish it all the way down. Don't worry about the overages a little bit, but try not to get them too thick. You can sand them down, but if you do a good job, you won't have to sand down so much. All this first coat is just a cover coat. Just want to embed that tape. Okay? Just want to embed the tape. Now I'm going to do this inside corner. Inside corner is done with paper tape, not the fiber tape. When I do an inside corner, I take my tape all the way to the top, and then use my hands and cut my piece to fit the whole length of your wall. And what you're going to do is you're going to turn this over, and you're going to just bend it, okay? Just set that out of your way for a minute. Get back on your ladder. And like I said, if you find any nails, you want to drive them flush, okay? So this is a little bit different. We put the mud on first, okay? So we're going to put the mud on. This is a little bit different too. So before we had the mud on the whole thing. Here, we want to put mud basically on one corner. So this is for the left side of the corner. Now I can just put a little bead down there and do the same thing for your other side. Use both sides of your knife to do an embed coat of mud. And just keep applying that down the wall as you go. You want a good, solid area to put your mud in when you push that tape into it. If you want to, you can do a short section of mud. Let me show you. let's say you have a taller ceiling and you don't want to mud that whole thing in. You can cut your paper to just embed into the mud that you're using. And then push that into your corner. When you do it this way, make sure you've got mud underneath, clear area underneath. Clean off your knife and push that into the corner and bring your knife down like that. Then you're going to want to take and press that paper into your wet mud. And then remove the excess and you can put it over the top of that area. Let me show you on this other side. You do not want to have any air bubbles underneath that. Let's do this side. So you're going to press as hard as you can, bend your knife. Press that paper into the mud. All right, now I've got a pretty good area up there. I don't have any air bubbles. If you have an air bubble, got a little bit of an air bubble there. So you want to lift it up, get it wet underneath there again, and then push down over the top of it. Your corner is the most critical area. If you don't have this tape right, you're going to notice it. So now what we want to do is we want to put more mud coming down our wall. And we're going to embed that tape over the top of the tape that we just put down just a little bit. So let me go ahead and mud this down the rest of the way because I'm getting where you can't see, and then I'll come back and push play when I do that. Okay, now I'm going to take the rest of my paper and I'm going to come right into this area where I just stopped at with it and do the same thing that you did on the top. Make sure you've got enough wet mud underneath there or else it's not going to work the way you want it to work. If you get any air bubbles when you're doing this, lift it up, put some more mud underneath it. Make sure it goes all the way down to the bottom. And got some air bubbles. Pick up the paper, put your mud underneath it. You'll also want to take off and remove your outlet covers too. It's part of a remodel. The nail there I wanted to drive in. All right, that corner is done. Make sure, stove will make sure, push that mud out of there. Now, I have very little sanding I have to do on this corner. All right, now we've got basically the metal, which is like the tape coat, okay? So this is basically just the same as doing a seam, except you're doing one half of your corner. So start with about that much mud. You can start at the top and just start back 6 to 8 inches and just pull it out to your corner. Feather it out. Lift your knife up a little bit as you come out. I'll show you when I get down there. All this is a cover coat. A lot of people will put fiber tape over that edge, but I have done this my whole entire house and I have not had a crack coming up my corners. You can see what I'm doing here. So it's just a cover coat and a fill coat. So you want to fill that area in, cover up your corner, and just keep working down your wall. Which one's the hardest? I think these outside corners are the hardest because they take the most mud and the most work. I'll talk to you about that in upcoming steps of this playlist that I'm doing here. I put all these how-to videos on my playlist of Jesus was a carpenter too. Because I'm a pastor, I want to be like Jesus. I'm supposed to imitate him. So that's why I do this. You're going to sand this down in between coats. So it doesn't have to be necessarily smooth, but just try to do your best to not have a big wrinkle in it. Okay, I'll come back on camera when I get this corner done and let you see all three areas up close. Yeah, I thought I'd do an update on the finish of the first coat of mud. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera around and just show you everything while I talk to you about it. And then I'll come back and I'll finish this video out. I'll be right back in a second. I think this is about the area where I gave you the instruction on mudding in them corners. And you can tell the seam is all done. That corner is all done. There's two seams along them walls. They're done. That corner just got finished out. Seams are all covered up there as well. That corner is done. I finished that seam earlier today. This corner right here got the first coat of mud on it. And then I did the seam there. There was a couple of seams up over the door. And then I had to go down there. I had to pull that door off. And I'll go back and I'll take a wet rag after that dries and I'll clean up that drywall mud that got on the wood frame. Right there I'm going to put an access panel in to utilize water shut-offs for the shower that's on the other side. So you can see I'm going to put a 14 by 14 inch access panel door with a frame there. You'll see that in an upcoming video. I want to be able to shut the water off to the shower I'm going to be building there. So that'll be coming up in another video. Let me turn the camera around and we'll finish this video out. And my friends, it takes time to basically do the first coat. And so when I come back in my next video, I'm going to be using a pole sander because it's a big area. And I'll show you how I sand it down. Then I'll put my second coat on there and then I'll sand down, do my third coat. So once I get the third coat done, then I can kind of give it once over and then we'll texture these walls. So that's kind of how it's planned out to go. So when you see me in another video where we'll be sanding down and doing the second coat of mud, I'll show you how we feather out the corners and the seams just like we did with the first coat. So thank you for watching this video and be blessed and may God's face shine upon you and may Jesus always bring you joy. I'll see you in the next how-to step video on the steps to remodeling this trailer house bedroom.